Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast, episode 192. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and you can catch this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011. Usually live every Sunday. You can join us over there. Just drop a follow. You'll get notified when we go live. You join on the fun discussion and topic talk? Yeah, topic talk. But if you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. Go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, any way you can support the show, like, share, subscriptions, reviews, whatever it is. It may seem small, but it does help the channel grow. So if you do that, take the time, we would love and appreciate you for it. Today, we're back. We're solo after a month of fun guests. I hope you guys enjoyed those episodes. We're back today. Two topics. We're going to be talking about the Game Awards 2023 as of recording. The nominees for each topic has been released, so we'll do our predictions there. And we're also going to be talking about Spider-Man 2 because your boy finally beat it. We're talking non-spoilers and spoilers, so when we get to that, don't worry, I'll give you a fair warning. So if you want to play it yourself or haven't beaten it yet, whatever your story may be, you have the opportunity for that. But let's jump into topic one. Let's talk about the Game Awards. So, like I said, as of recording today, they have released what the awards are along with their nominees. So I thought it'd be fun to kind of go through, read what is going up for what awards, and then kind of give our predictions of what we think would win. Probably some stuff of like, oh, this is what I want to win, but it will be XYZ. We'll have to see. And also maybe learn about some other games that I didn't even know about, because 2023 has been insane for games. A lot of ups in terms of game production and what has been released. And unfortunately, a lot of downs with a lot of layoffs. Not good. But we'll try and be positive here. We'll celebrate the releases that have come out this year, give those their flowers, and we'll go from there. So we're going to skip all the esports stuff because honestly, I don't know anything about it. In terms of the content creators, I think I only recognize 2. So, yeah, no idea. Can't help you out there. I have no choices or no opinions. So let's go into our first award. We do have Best Adaptation. So games that have been adapted into films, series, what have you. So we have Castlevania Nocturne on Netflix. We have Gran Turismo, the film from Sony Pictures. We have The Last of Us TV series on HBO, the Super Mario Bros. Movie from Universal Pictures, and the Twisted Metal TV series on Peacock. Whew, okay, we got some good ones there. I've seen 3 out of 5. Honestly had no interest in seeing Gran Turismo with Orlando Bloom and David Harbour. And then Castlevania, I've limited experience with that. This one's tough. I'm between 2. I'm between Mario and in between Last of Us. Twisted Metal was very good. Honestly, I still need to go back and finish it. It was a lot more fun than I thought it would be. Obviously, with the initial trailer, we saw that they were kind of going more of that comedy route. But I thought the show overall was very entertaining. They did have a good story that they were telling throughout. It just wasn't, I don't know, in comparison, I would say as good as the other 2. Now we get to the tricky part. Because do you go with the compelling story, or do you go for the fun energy that that Mario provided? I think I have to... Oh, boy. Man. See, Last of Us, even knowing the story, really kept you on the edge of your seat week to week. Like, obviously, if you were taking in for the first time, that's a whole different experience. But as someone who has played the game and seen how that has played out, even going from week to week there, it was still edge of your seat, anticipation of what's going to happen and what they're going to show, how things are going to play out in this live action universe. It was very, very good and well produced. Super Mario Bros. Was just nostalgia galore and hit like the soft spot in so many ways. Like the references to the games, whether it was the Super Nintendo little store that they had and sold the cartridges, or the Mario Kart references, or there were so many. Of course, I'm blanking out. We did a whole topic, a podcast topic about it. If you want to go hear mine and Lady's thoughts after we watched it that weekend, it was just such a great time. I think I have to give it to The Last of Us, and there's a reason for this. This series, like I said, kept me on the edge of my seat, even though I knew what was going to happen in terms of the game. But the game didn't resonate well with me. Not well, but it wasn't as interesting as it was for others. I've talked about this numerous times, but Last of Us, I got to it late, played on the PS4. The communities online that I was part of raved and raved about Last of Us. 10 out of 10, game of the year. It's so awesome. I don't know if it was all that praise, high talk, whatever it was. When I came to actually playing it, I just didn't connect. It was fine. It was a good experience, but I didn't feel like so overwhelmed with it that it made me want to like explore the second one or learn more about the universe. The show did. The show got me right back into it. The show made me want to continue and play Last of Us Part 2. And to be honest, I'm really glad it did, because Last of Us Part 2 kicks so much ass. It's so good. The story that they even tell in that game and where this universe is going to go with the continuation of the HBO series. Phenomenal job. So I think Last of Us, for me, is going to win. I still believe it's between those two for the votes. I would think Last of Us as well for official will win. Next, we have most anticipated game. We have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth by Square Enix. We got Hades 2 from Supergiant. We have Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth from Gatoku Studio. I apologize. Star Wars Outlaws from Massive Entertainment, and Tekken 8 from Bandai Namco. Honestly, I'm surprised Tekken 8 is not out yet. I thought this was the trifecta of gaming fighting games. That's what I'm looking for. The trifecta of fighting games this year, because we had Street Fighter come out, we had Mortal Kombat come out. I thought Tekken 8 was also this year, but I guess not. I think I have an easy answer for myself. I think it's Hades 2 for this one. Hades just was an insane game, a lot of fun, that gameplay loop of the roguelite genre. Once again, late to the party, as always with it. But seeing that trailer, just very excited, very hype. I don't think they have beta stuff going on, or pre-access, whatever they call it, on Steam. I don't think I'll participate in that, but once it comes to consoles, I'll be definitely in that. Final Fantasy VII is one I'm intrigued in, but is also on my backlog. I haven't finished Remake, made it a decent way through, and just, as I do, got distracted by the next shiny object. And as for the rest, Outlaws, I remember looking cool. The rest are kind of just on that lower bracket of like, glad they're coming out, but no interest there. So I think Hades takes it for me. If I had to predict what will win, I'm going to say FF7. FF7 has a cult following, with this being part 2 of, you know, the original PlayStation 1 game and the remaster here, and them just expanding on things. We're getting, I think, Sephiroth as a playable character. We're getting Vincent showing up. We get X13 in there. I'm not that wealthy in the FF7 knowledge, so I don't know what other characters, but you get all the craziness outside of the initial area. Oh, crud. Why did I even try? I don't know. Midgar. I think that's it. Whatever city you're in the beginning. Getting outside of there and exploring more of the world is going to be fun. Best debut indie game. We have Cocoon from Geometric Interactive, Dredge from Black Salt Games, Pizza Tower by Torta Pizza, Venba by Vizai Games, and Viewfinder from Sad Owl Studios. I'll be honest, I haven't played any of these. I'm so sorry. Venba, I actually just won a code for. Looking forward to trying out the narrative cooking video game. Talking about some immigrants and dealing with those changes and raising a child in that situation. Viewfinder looks awesome. It's a VR title, puzzle game, dealing with perspective to solve puzzles. That one I'm very intrigued in, and was very interested when they were showing it off and previewing it for the first time. But don't have VR, which I think this requires. Let me check real quick. It's not telling me. Maybe you don't need it. I thought you did. Well, anyways. So I haven't played that. And then Dredge, I've heard good things. Cocoon, I've heard good things. Pizza Tower, I've never even heard of. So this was an interesting one for me to read here. Pizza Tower is a 2023 platform game. Follows pizza chef Peppino Spaghetti, who must scale a tower to prevent the destruction of his pizzeria. Across 20 side-scrolling levels, the player increases their score by gathering collectibles and defeating enemies to build combos. At the end of each level, they activate an escape sequence and must return to the beginning with a time limit. The Pizza Tower does not feature health or lives. Its difficulty depends on what a player chooses to achieve. Interesting. So yeah. I don't have a good vote. I would say Dredge. I say they're going to pick Dredge. I don't think I can accurately put in a choice for myself here, as I have no experience. Best multiplayer game. We have Baldur's Gate 3 from Larian Studios, Diablo 4 from the Blizzard team, Party Animals from Recreate Games, Street Fighter 6 from Capcom, and Super Mario Wonder from Nintendo. Another one where I have limited experience. Street Fighter 6 is the only game in here I think I've actually played. Yes, that is true. And Street Fighter 6 didn't capture me. I don't know if just Street Fighter with me in general doesn't click. I like the game. I like the characters. I like the world. It's just I'm not a big online player, so it's like, I get that. That's the kind of thing with fighting games. You go online, you fight people, you get better, you don't get better, you get your ass kicked, if you're me. Obviously, that's the big allure with all these fighting games. The online community fighting against other players. And to me, that's like, it's fun. It can be fun. But when you're going on there and just getting trounced over and over and over again, loses the appeal. So in terms of a multiplayer game, I haven't played much of the multiplayer aspect of that. However, watching Party Animals, that seems like a clear winner to me. Crazy, insane fun, brings back the insanity of Gang Beasts, just obviously with these fluffy animals, lots of customization, a decent amount of different game modes from the sports games, whether it's soccer, football, hockey, to platforming type stuff, to battling it out and just punching the other animals. Seems like a lot of fun from a viewer perspective. I'm excited to give it a try for Extra Life, speaking of, coming up. So I would lean towards Party Animals is what's going to be chosen, but the only one I currently have experience with right now is Street Fighter 6. Next one is Best Simulation / Strategy Games. We have Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp from Way Forward, City Skylines 2 from Colossal Order, Company of Heroes 3 by Relic Entertainment, Fire Emblem Engage from Intelligent Systems and Nintendo, and Pikmin 4 from Nintendo as well. Welcome to another category where Bret has no experience with any of these. Fire Emblem's huge. I wanted to try Advance Wars. That's a game even back on the Game Boy Advance. I was like, oh, that looks cool. That looks like a cool title. But the backlog's too huge, so I haven't bought it. I'm going to pick Fire Emblem because that's popular. But I don't know. You're catching a trend here, right? There's too many games. Best sports / racing game, we got EA Sports FC 24 from EA. We got F1 23 from Codemasters. We got Forza Motorsport from Turn 10 Studios. Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged from Milestone. And the Crew Motorfest, which I'm surprised is still a thing, from Ubisoft. Let's say Hot Wheels wins. The first one was very good. I don't know what the second one is. Moving on, best family game. We have Disney Illusion Island from Dalala Studios, Party Animals from Recreate Studios, Pikmin 4 from Nintendo, Sonic Superstars from RZest and the Sonic team, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Family game. Disney Illusion looked cute, but I don't think that was very popular. At least I didn't hear a lot of it. Like, it came out, flash in the pan, and then I heard nothing. I think I'm going to go Wonder for this one. Super Mario games are always a lot of fun to play with a lot of people, or playing for, whether you're being chaotic, taking each other out, or actually working together. So I'm going to give it to Wonder there. We'll have to see. Best fighting game. We got God of Rock by Modus Games, Mortal Kombat 1 by NetherRealm Studios, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 from Fair Play Labs, Pocket Bravery from Statera Studio, and Street Fighter 6 from Capcom. Selfishly, I'm going to pick MK1 here. Obviously, I have a little bit more history with Mortal Kombat 1 with playing those and really enjoying the story. Guess what? The story kicked ass in Mortal Kombat 1 as well. It's a little sad, the kind of microtransactions route they have gone in some aspects with just their content that they are offering. Like a lot of people right now are kind of up in arms with the holiday fatalities. You could pay, I have no idea, like $10 for a Halloween fatality. A lot of people got up in arms about that, and now they're including the Thanksgiving and Christmas fatalities along with that. I do appreciate that they listened and included those. It's still not great. But there is a lot of good with this game as well. The DLC that they're going to be having has a lot of wide variety of characters that are very cool. Like I said, the story mode kicked absolute ass in this game. I think from a gameplay perspective, it's a lot more fun than Mortal Kombat 11 was, as a lot more characters seem interesting. And then in terms of game modes outside of the story mode, you have your classic towers. I think the invasion mode, it was worth an attempt, and I appreciate them doing it. I appreciate the amount of cosmetics and unlockables that are available with each season that passes. I think that's where it really shines in terms of TLC for this game. So I'm going to pick Mortal Kombat 1 for this one. Heard a lot of good things about Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, which is great. After the first one was like hit or miss. Like I talked about earlier with Street Fighter 6. Great game, looks great, just doesn't have that fun factor from time to time. I don't know God of Rock, and I don't know Pocket Bravery, but looking forward to learning more about them. Best role-playing game, we got Baldur's Gate 3 from Larian Studios, Final Fantasy 16 from Square Enix, Lies of P from Round 8 Studio, Sea of Stars from Sabotage Studio, and Starfield from Bethesda Game Studio. Guess what? Another category where I haven't played anything. Lies of P looks really fun, and I like what that team has done with its narrative. I know pretty much the whole story and how it ends up, thanks to podcasts. Totally fine with that. I'm intrigued to see what this studio does, as I think an independent team as well. They gathered a lot of traction. Excited to see what they do in the future. I'd like to see Lies of P. I don't know if that would win for role-playing game. I'd like to see at least get some accolades somewhere. I don't know if it'll take this category. I'm leaning towards Baldur's Gate because that was huge for the D&D audience. But then also there's Starfield there, which a lot of people seem to like. I'm going to go Baldur's. I'm going to say Baldur's gets that one and picks up the win. Best action/adventure game. We got Alan Wake 2 from Remedy Entertainment, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom by Nintendo, Marvel Spider-Man 2 by Insomniac Games, Resident Evil 4 by Capcom, Star Wars Jedi Survivor by Respawn Entertainment. Yikes. Okay. I've watched Alan Wake 2, not all of it. I have no idea about Legend of Zelda. Spider-Man 2, I have played all the way through. Resident Evil 4, touched upon. And Jedi Survivor, also touched upon. Yikes. I think I have to lean, just because I've played more of it with Spider-Man here. Resident Evil 4 I barely touched on. It felt very similar to other Resident Evils of the past. Not a bad thing. Just not knowing where that story goes and how the different enemies are. Can't really allude to that. And the same thing with Jedi Survivor. The opening's great. Just more of, Jedi Fallen Order, which was fantastic. I'm looking forward to learning more about that, or rather seeing more in that game as I'm playing it right now in my spare time. Excited to see where that goes. I know it's a lot bigger, or at least it seems like it. Excuse me, in comparison to the first one. But yeah, I got to give it to Spider-Man 2. A lot of fun with the traversal and the web swinging. The different variety of moves that you do get and eventually earn is fantastic. It felt like more as well of the first game, but they added on top of it, made some gadgets more not accessible. They upgraded on the things that they had learned in the first game, and I think it really delivered in Spider-Man 2's combat. Best action game. Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon from Software, Dead Island 2 from Dam Buster Studios, Ghost Runner 2 from One More Level, Hi-Fi Rush from Tango Gameworks, and Remnant 2 from Gunfire Games. I'm going to go with Hi-Fi Rush for this one. Haven't played any of them, just so you know. But I feel like a lot of these, like Armored Core was supposed to be huge. Supposed to be. Just because it's a From Software title, I thought it would blow up. I feel like that was another one that was a flash in the pan where people were excited about it. It came out, heard nothing. Hi-Fi Rush was like out of nowhere from Tango and Bethesda. Just kind of got shadow dropped, really blew up, kind of like a Sunset Overdrive with a different art style, and people loved it. Ghost Runner 2, I believe, just came out recently. It's another one I haven't heard much about. I'm excited to try the first one, but didn't know anything about it. This is another one that there's probably a few of these that I'm not going to have much to say about, but innovation and accessibility. Great that teams are doing this. Let's just say that. Fantastic. More people we can get playing these games, enjoying these experiences. Awesome. So I really appreciate all these teams here. Diablo 4 from Blizzard, Forza Motorsport from Turn 10 Studios, Hi-Fi Rush from Tango Gameworks, Marvel's Spider-Man 2 from Insomniac, Mortal Kombat 1 from NetherRealm, and Street Fighter 6 for Capcom. I can't speak upon any of these. Like I said, I'm just happy that teams are being smarter or looking into these avenues for more people to play and enjoy their experiences. I don't have an opinion here of like who should win this, but just glad it's a thing. Keep doing it. Best VR and AR game, Gran Turismo 7 from Polyphony Digital, Humanity from Tha Ltd, Horizon Call of the Mountain from Guerrilla Games, Resident Evil Village from Capcom, and Synapse from N-Dreams. Ooh, we got some fun, interesting games there. Turismo, just driving. Not that that's not interesting. Humanity is a fun puzzle game. I'm looking forward to trying that out on Extra Life. Won't be playing the VR mechanic of it, but seems like a crazy puzzle game that you'll have to figure out how to get the people where you want them to be as this ghost dog thing. Horizon Call of the Mountain I've heard amazing things with. We had Joe on the podcast from the Trophy Room months ago at this point when PlayStation VR 2 dropped. He had a lot of good experiences with Call of the Mountain, so intrigued for that one. Resident Evil Village seems cool, and Synapse seemed like another fun one from VR 2 when and if we get VR. So I'm going to lean towards Call of the Mountain here just because of how Joe kind of talked up that game and how amazing it was. So go with that. Okay, these next two I'm going to breeze past. I'll read them, but I don't know if I have an opinion on either of them. We have Best Community Support, Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, and No Man's Sky. No, Roman numerals are hard. Best mobile game, we have Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. We have Honkai Star Rail, Hello Kitty Island Adventure, Monster Hunter Now, and Terra Nil. Like I said, no opinion on those. Best independent game, we have Cocoon from Geometric Interactive, Dave the Diver from Mint Rocket, Dredge from Black Salt Studios, Sea of Stars from Sabotage Studio, and Viewfinder from Sad Owl Studios. Dave the Diver's got to steal this one for me. Once again, didn't play it. I'm very interested in playing it, but that consumed people when that came out. I know it's a little iffy on if it is independent. It is a smaller team that is owned by a big company, so I know it's a little shaky there. Doesn't take away from what this team has done. Dave the Diver, fantastic, very interesting story, gameplay loop. A lot of fun there. Definitely check it out if you have not checked it out. Best ongoing game, Apex Legends from Respawn Entertainment, Cyberpunk 2077 from CD Projekt Red, Final Fantasy 14 from Square, Fortnite from Epic Games, Genshin Impact for MiHoYo. Fortnite, because it always wins. Alright, we're getting there. Games for Impact. Probably another one that I will not have much of an opinion on, as I have played none of them. I have a Space for the Unbound from Mojiken Studio, Chance of Sonar from Rundisk, Goodbye Volcano High from KOOP, Chichia from Awaseb, Terranil by Free Lives, and Venba Vivasai Studios. Like I said, I haven't played any of these yet. I'm going to be streaming Goodbye Volcano High actually this week as of recording. Chichia, I heard good things, and Venba we talked about earlier. Looking forward to trying that out. I've heard a lot of good things about Space from the Unbound as well from 6-1 Indie and Kyle over there. Sounds like that's a very emotional journey. Terranil and Chance of Sonar, I can't say I've heard anything about, so I'm not sure. In terms of what they would choose, boy, no idea. I don't know. Can't even put in a guess. Alright, best performance. We got Idris Elba as Solomon Reed in Cyberpunk. We got Melanie Liburd as Saga Anderson in Alan Wake 2. We got Yuri Lowenthal as Peter Parker as Spider-Man in Spider-Man. Karen Monahue, Calcastus, from Jedi Survivor. We got Neil Newborn as Asterion in Baldur's Gate, and Ben Starr as Clive Rosenfield in Final Fantasy 16. From my experience, Yuri crushed it. Yuri absolutely crushed it in Spider-Man 2. I would give this man the award. I've also heard good things about Ben Starr in Final Fantasy. And Cameron's crushed it as Cal in 2 games. Not that Yuri hasn't in 2 games, but I would pick Yuri here. The way that story goes and the levels he's got to reach to, he did a great job as Peter. All right, we're going to skip... Oh, boy. All right, we're going to skip these next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to get to the big cheese at the top, but we'll still read them out. We got Best Audio Design. We got Alan Wake 2 from Remedy, Hi-Fi Rush from Tango, Dead Space from Motive Studios, Marvel Spider-Man from Insomniac, Resident Evil 4 from Capcom. So audio design there. Best Score and Music, Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate, Final Fantasy 16, Hi-Fi Rush, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Best Art Direction, Alan Wake 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Legend of Zelda, Liza P, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Best Narrative, Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2070, Phantom Liberty, Final Fantasy 16, and Spider-Man. Best Game Direction, Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Marvel Spider-Man 2, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder. We're getting a lot of repeats, aren't we? Alright, big cheese. Game of the Year. Alan Wake 2 from Remedy, Baldur's Gate 3 from Larian, Legend of Zelda from Nintendo, Spider-Man 2 from Insomniac, Resident Evil 4 from Capcom, Super Mario Bros. Wonder from Nintendo. I mean, I have my choice, and it's Spider-Man, as we'll talk about in topic 2. I'm sure you knew that. Ha 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 ha. But what's going to win overall? What's going to win for Game Awards? Now, I heard a lot of great things about Resident Evil 4 Remake. How that just captured everything that the original Resident Evil 4 had, amplified it, and did a great job there. Alan Wake 2, I'm hearing a lot of good things with its technology of changing scenes. Both characters have really good and interesting narratives that are being told about them. And then just building on this universe that Remedy has kind of built across all of their games. Baldur's Gate has been like a fire that does not stop. Once again, like I said, this has captured the hearts of a lot of people. Seems like this game exploded, being a smaller team, from my knowledge. I don't know if it's a smaller team. I wonder if it says. They've been around for a while. Okay, 450 employees. I mean... in comparison, I think that's smaller. Let's see, how much does Remedy have? Doesn't say. 360 for Remedy. Okay, maybe not as small as I thought. But still, this game blew up. It's been capturing a lot of people, and they have absolutely loved it. Legend of Zelda won last time with the first one. This, unfortunately, feels like another flash in the pan. And I'm not sure if it's just games on games on games, like overflowing or overwhelming each other with how many games have come out this year and towards this last quarter. I don't know if they're just eating each other up, but I feel like I didn't hear much about Tears of the Kingdom when that came out When did that come out? May. Okay, so not Q4, but still, I don't know. Spider-Man 2, obviously recent. And then Super Mario Bros. Wonder seems like a fun game that people have had. So I would pick Spider-Man 2 for myself, but that's selfish because also I've only played that one here, other than the glimpse of Resident Evil 4. My hope is that Baldur's Gate gets this. Hearing just everybody clamor about this game and how it blew up, that would be one that's kind of like not out of nowhere, but in comparison to these studios where I feel they've been there. Remedy's been there with the Control. Obviously, Nintendo's Nintendo. Marvel Spider-Man has been in here with Insomniac. Unfortunately lost, I think, in its year because it was against God of War? Or it was the other Legend of Zelda. And Capcom is Capcom. I don't know if they've won a Game of the Year in recent years, at least in terms of the Game Awards. But I think that would be a cool one. So yeah, in terms of, since this is run, Dragon Age Inquisition, so that's BioWare. Witcher was CD Projekt Red. Then you had Overwatch, which was Blizzard. You had Breath of the Wild, okay. God of War, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, Last of Us Part 2, It Takes Two, and Elden Ring was last year. So if I look back at 2017, because I'm curious if Spider-Man lost to... No, Horizon lost to Breath of the Wild. Okay, gotcha. So did Spider-Man lose to God of War? I clicked on the wrong thing. Ooh, yeah, that was a rough year. God of War, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Celeste, Marvel Spider-Man, Monster Hunter World, and Red Dead Redemption 2. Yikes. Yeah, that was a tough year. So, it's tough to say. I'd like for it to be Spider-Man, or at least that would be rather my choice. And then, just in terms of like an exciting feel-good moment, I don't know. Give it to Baldur's Gate. We'll have to see. But yeah, that's our predictions run through for Game Awards 2023. Let me know what you guys think is going to win, or what you want to win for this awards season. Obviously, there's plenty of other awards. You got the DICE Awards. You got probably GameSpot's got some. There's a lot of different ones, but at least for Keeley's, let me know what you think's going to win. I believe that's on December 7th. We might do a live stream for it, so just keep an eye on the Twitch and all that fun stuff, and we'll have some fun with that. But yeah, speaking of Spider-Man, let's roll on the topic too. Let's talk about Spider-Man 2 from Insomniac. So, we are going to go non-spoiler first, and then we're going to go full-blown spoilers of this game. So if you guys do not want spoilers on Spider-Man 2 when we get to that point, whoosh, see you bye. Come back when you beat it and have some fun gushing over all the cool things that were in this game. So let's jump into it. So, Spider-Man 2 was an amazing game to play, honestly. We had a great time on stream replaying the first game and Miles Morales to kind of get into the zone for Spider-Man 2. Personally, I played it late. I think I started it maybe a week and a half after it first launched. So that kind of FOMO and that little gap just kind of helped build the anticipation for me personally of diving into Spider-Man 2. And when I finally got the chance to do it, it was amazing. Graphically, it looks fantastic. Even running on an old TV that I've had for numerous years. Looks stunning. The gameplay mechanics switching from Peter to Miles and how they each like are different from one another in terms of their move sets, and obviously their mannerisms and their characters was a lot of fun. And the story that they decided to tell in this game with Kraven, with Venom, and all the other layers that we'll talk about later. What is talking? It was a beautiful story that they told. A lot of ebbs and flows. was compelling, made you want to just keep going, seeing how this adventure was going to unfold, unravel. And this game has done something that I haven't felt for a while, where I'm sad that it's over and like just want more of it in a selfish way. Like, just once we wrapped that game, it felt like obviously a big check mark. Like, wow, we just went through this amazing experience. I don't want to say empty, but it felt lost. What do I do now? Finishing the story, and then as of recording this past weekend, platinuming the game, so getting everything done, you know, all the side quests, achievements, collectibles, etc., trophies. It's this weird gray area of like, yeah, I don't know what to do. Like, that was such a great experience in terms of its narrative, in terms of its gameplay, and things of that nature, that it met all expectations and even exceeded some, in terms of where this title could have gone, and the team obviously that has put it out there. Not to say that there wasn't some things that didn't match up. There's a couple bugs here and there. Nothing crashed the game. There was a couple textures that would pop in and out, or things would be where they're not supposed to be, character model wise, of like an arm through something for an enemy. Nothing crazy. I mean, it's expected, unfortunately, with all these games getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Just, there's things you're not going to be able to account for or catch, but the main thing is everything worked, nothing crashed, it didn't bog down the game and have these negative effects, which I do appreciate. Yeah, it's crazy. And just in terms of map size, scaling everything up, adding the whole Queens area to the map to get a more, I think rural's the correct descriptor, like the houses and the living area, and not having these tall ass skyscrapers everywhere and anywhere. That was interesting, just that dichotomy of the city and then a little bit outside, to have that difference and that variance in terms of where you're swinging, what you're traversing through. That was great. And then the addition of the web wings just added another layer to, once again, the traveling. Going from swinging to web wings to flipping to going over a building to back into web wings made it such an exciting experience, trying to mess around, see how you can keep flying. Obviously, you have the wind tunnels to keep your momentum going if you really want to zoom through the city at a certain point. Great stuff. Great stuff throughout. Once again, story was amazing. The twists and turns that they took in that. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and sharing that experience with you guys watching on stream was a lot of fun as well. Just gushing about the cool things that were revealed or did happen in there. It was an amazing time. I would highly recommend it to anybody who's even, had a glimpse of comic book fandom in there. Definitely continues where they left off in the first two, which is nice. And yeah, it's just a very fun experience. So we are going to get into spoiler territory. We're going to be covering everything, just kind of gushing about all the cool stuff. If you do not want to be spoiled, this is your time to leave. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you. Come back and check this out when you're done. But we're going to be talking about spoilers. 3, 2, 1. Okay. So let's talk about villains. Because this game delivered and then gave us dessert. And then after we were done with that dessert, gave us another little mini dessert as a teaser. This game just kept feeding us. And Kraven and Venom, obviously being advertised as the two main big villains, were great. Kraven felt like a threat the whole time. He had this ominous vibe about him of why he's in the city, what he's doing, all these areas that he's purchasing to make these base camps. And he's just doing these hunts for sport. And wants to do this as his last thing as a operational human as he gets older. So having that to build most of the narrative, while in the background we have this dilemma with Harry and the symbiote being attached to him, and taking that journey of how do we get to Venom, what's going to be the case there. Seeing that and feeling the emotions when we get to that point where we have to battle our friend in this symbiote suit and try and save him and like accept responsibility for like, what if we can't do this? What kind of limits are we willing to push past in order to save the day for the greater good type thing? Similar to the first game where we really want to save Aunt May, but we can't. We need to do this for everyone and not just her. Similar situation here where we're really pushing those buttons of like what's the limit, or how far are you able to go to get to that point of, you know, saving people. And like I said, there was the main course and they kept just adding to it. Whether it was the main story with Sandman, unfortunately, I mean, I got spoiled on it, but it was in the launch trailer, so I guess, yeah, Sandman at the beginning, giving him or using him as a little bit of illusion and a tease of Kraven coming. You have the return of Scorpion. You have the return of Mr. Negative. Mr. Negative, and seeing him and Miles's journey, obviously with Negative having the negative implications of Miles and his past and his father, seeing them deal with their issues. And more fun stuff like Mysterio randomly showing up, being around. Same with Tombstone. We get the tease of when Harry is actually using the symbiote for good. We get a tease at the Agent Venom suit before it goes to Peter and then turns into the whole rigmarole with Venom as the end, or as the villain. And then other more and more characters on top of that. You had the Black Cat mission, which teased at Doctor Strange. We get the tease with Wong, like knowing that this universe outside of the Spider-Man stuff like exists. Obviously, we've seen the teases of Avengers Tower. You see the teases of Iron Fist and his like building, and like Daredevil studio, and apparently there's a Wakandan embassy. I think I missed it, but then even a small thing that you could absolutely miss if you didn't go to the rooftops of this specific place. But Kingpin's area, the tower, his tower in the first game where you arrest him, that's been bought, and it's the Fantastic Four tower. Right at the top, there's fresh paint of the Four logo. You could totally miss that. That's the only place the Four is located. And just the amount of stuff that is hidden in the city that's so vast. Like I said, I never saw the Wakandan embassy. I don't think I saw the Daredevil stuff just because those landmarks weren't in it as photography spots like the first game. Didn't see that. Didn't go back to the restaurant with Stan Lee where he was. You know, you can miss out on Aunt May's grave and Uncle Ben's and Jefferson Davis's, Miles' dad's grave. You can miss out on that stuff. You could miss out on the little award for Miles and Finn for their science thing in the church where you left it at the end of Miles Morales' game. And like, there's those things, but then there's also the side missions. And the side missions in the first game were fine. They really just awarded people in this game, it felt, with the side missions in terms of like, once again, here's your cake, eat it too, and keep going, because we got more for you. Like, on stream, we joked around, like, the last day. We had already beaten the story the previous day. The last day of the stream we were going to play the game was, we're going to do all the things that deal with the characters. Because from what I had played, that was what was alluded to. And I thought the other side missions were just going to be clear these bases, do these things, whatever. So we did the spider bots. And guys, let me tell you how much I freaked out about the spider bots. I saw them, I collected them. The whole story is like, oh, who's making these spider bots? Like, it's got a weird signal, whatever. And they're different spider people across the universes. Obviously, there's other ones which are villains like Vulture, Rhino, Scorpion, Mr. Negative, etc. But then there was Spider-Ham, there was Spider-Woman, there was a Gwen one, there was Arachnakid, there was, I don't know, just a bunch of different ones. And I'm like, had these ups and downs of like, are they going to do it? Are they going to actually pull the trigger? Are they going to give us Gwen in this game? They didn't, but similar, they didn't show him, but they teased at Spider-Man 2099. They gave us the fucking Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse, the multiverse. They got us the stupid little hexagon graphics that they use in the Sony animated films. So they're acknowledging the multiverse here and these different spider people. Fantastic. So you get that from the Spider-Bots. Then you get, you get Yuri, you get Wraith, you get elevation on her story from the DLC where she kind of turns rogue and like anti-hero, where she's a little bit more violent. You build on her story, and eventually that story leads to Carnage being revealed. And that felt like, what are we doing here? That feels like it should be elevated, but stopping this cultist turns out to be Carnage, and he gets away, so we're going to build on that, and that's great. What else did we do on stream? We did all the Mysterio stuff, and you think, oh, Mysterio's going evil. Nope, he's actually being used by these other two chuckleheads. You had, oh, crud. Of course, now I'm forgetting because I didn't write it down. You had, what other characters were in this game? Oh, you had the birds from Kraven that were kind of hunting things down, and you're trying to protect these identities, or these target identities, try and find them, save them, and you keep learning more and more and more about them, and you find out it's Chameleon. It's Kraven's brother who's been hiding from him, and you go to his base, you get a little dialogue thing, you're like, oh, this is all we're gonna get. You end up escaping because he like rigs his apartment to blow up or poison or whatever the fuck. As you zoom away, there's Chameleon. You don't see him as his typical, 90s outfit. He's disguised. But I was like, what are you doing in here? Why are you even in this game? Like, they just kept building this world more and more. And it's insane. And you get these ones where it's the cool factor of the different villains making their appearances or being alluded to. But then also the last missions I did personally were the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man app and the Vicarious, like the student one. Student one was fine. You do little missions to help out the kids, and you get like a Puerto Rican flag suit for Miles. Suit. Totally cool. The last one, the neighborhood apps, those missions, those is where it pulls at the heartstrings a little bit more, makes you feel emotional, because it's just the regular people that you've been helping across the two previous games, and kind of seeing where their lives have gone, or like helping them out, and it's a little bit more of like a grounded emotional bond that you have with them. I'm going to mention two specifically. One that was hit on the emotional terms of like, this is sad, and one that hit on the emotional grounds of like, this is awesome, and I'm really glad that they added this, and this is going to mean a whole lot more for someone else than myself. So let's talk about the sad one. So in the first two games, you help a gentleman named Howard. Howard is a homeless man who has these pigeons that he raises and, kind of keeps safe after his wife had passed away and he's down on his luck. Now, for these missions, some of them, you can choose which Spider-Man to play as. So I'm sure there's different dialogue, obviously, because their relationship is different with the character. So because I knew it was Howard, because I looked through the trophies at this point, I decided to go with Peter, because Peter had this relationship with him from the first game, and then asked Miles to help him, I believe, in the second game. Well, you meet Howard just chilling on some stairs, and he's looking out onto the lake, and he's reminiscing about, like, just taking it all in. So you just sit there, and you're looking at different landmarks, boats go by, the Statue of Liberty, etc. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna be heading out. I think it's time for me to leave and go on to my next thing. And you're like, oh, okay. He's like, can you help me out and give my birds a new home? So you're like, sure, whatever. And Peter notices something's a little bit off with Howard. He's like, are you okay? Howard ignores him. Are you sure you're okay? Ignores him. So you decide to do this favor for him, bring the birds to a new home. You decide to bring them out to outside the city. So you go. You try and call Howard back after you've delivered the birds. No answer. and you zip back, and unfortunately Howard has passed away. Just natural causes. He was at peace, the EMT said. Just really sad, because Peter kind of knew there that it seemed like he was ready to leave, and I don't know. To me, it hit hard. Just like, it's a simple thing. Let's go swing over this way for a moment, and then come back, and he's gone. Just doing a simple mission in the first game to see this man down on his luck, but also very positive and like, I don't know. It sucked. But it was a very, very good element to add, because it really brought home, like I said, that grounded, friendly neighborhood part of like, not everything has to be this big catastrophic event for Spider-Man to make a difference for people. So the last mission that I'm going to talk about is, or at least the next one, like I said, it hits hard for me and I'm happy, but I know for a lot of other people it's going to resonate a lot more because of accessibility. And across the games, you've had moments where you play again as different characters. You play as Peter, play as Miles, you play as MJ, you play as Venom. We'll get to that later. There's a mission with Miles where there's a graffiti thing, or someone's vandalizing stuff. He responds to it, and the owner of the flower shop said, oh, someone's already taken care of it. She was an artist. She took care of it, fixed it up. And you're like, oh, that's great. It's Haley, his love interest, person you've known since the last game. And you get to play as Haley. And when I say how taken aback I was for a moment, not because like, oh, gotta play as her and this is gonna be weird, not doing the spider powers or whatever. So Haley's deaf, if you don't know. And they make you feel that. And it's like, it's in the best way possible, and it's weird. Your audio cuts out. All you hear is muffles. You hear your footsteps crunching, and you'll hear like people talking in that muffled tone where you can't make anything out. All you see is these like little emojis that will pop over their head as like kind of signals to you of how they're feeling. And you just go around as Haley and you fix these areas that have been vandalized. And it's just, it's crazy how just a little tweak of obviously, you know, sound design and stuff like that just made me go like, wow, that's, they didn't have to include this, and they went that route, and that's going to make so many people just feel seen, heard, noticed, all that stuff. So yeah, that just made me really happy that they had that available, and as something that they would tell in their story, even if it's a small thing, even if it's a side thing, just including that just really felt powerful, and I appreciated that. So let's talk about, I alluded to it, Venom. You could play as Venom for a little while. That is crazy. Didn't think they would let us do that. A lot of fun jumping around and destroying things as him, obviously, because the rest of the time, you know, you're trying to do good and stuff as you're beating up the bad guys, but just thrashing those guards, tossing them around, not eating them. They teased it a few times. I think they wanted to to have Venom munch a little bit. But that was a crazy thing gameplay-wise. I already talked about the Agent Venom suit. The actual symbiote suit was nuts. The moment you got it, you just felt more powerful and destructive, and they did a great job of really making the characters grow in terms of like showing Peter's aggression throughout the story and how he's getting more consumed by the suit. The ending. How do I feel about the ending? And I guess this is where I'll wrap it up. I guess I talked a little quicker through it than I thought I would. That's what happens when you don't write things down. You're like, oh, talk about this, talk about that. That's all right. Just go off the chest, right? So in the end, Peter decides to retire. He's still going to be there if Miles needs help, but he's going to focus on his career and his life with MJ. I felt sad. I felt sad, and you're supposed to. I also felt a little... trying to find the right word for it. Not frustrated, but kind of questioned it a little bit. So in the opening of the game, Miles is trying to apply seemingly for college. He has to do this essay about himself. And, you know, him and Peter are working on it, and they joke around like, it's your recap for the past 2 games. So they talk about the Spider-Man stuff they're never going to really submit to the college. But it's a nice tool that they use as a story recap method. And throughout the game, Miles is dealing with his own stuff. He's dealing with the Mr. Negative stuff and how his father's passed. He's also dealing with this college essay, not finding a good way to describe himself or write this down. And at the end of this game, they kind of, at least I felt, they kind of just don't wrap up Miles' stuff super well. And it almost feels like they're just shoving it on him. Like, granted, like, he's Spider-Man. Oh, the whole city's yours now, kid. I get it. When Peter was doing this, he was also in high school. We don't get that experience as the player to play through. We got some flashbacks here, which was nice and appreciated. But we didn't go through that as the player. Going through it as Miles in the first game, seeing how much shit he went through and how much pressure he puts on himself, to continue that in this game where he's like, I gotta be a better Spider-Man. The city's relying on me, blah, blah, blah. Like, I feel horrible for Miles. Like, this seems a lot for a 17, 8-year-old. Like, here's all of New York City. It's all up to you. Like, oof, man. And he seems ready for it. Definitely is. He's smart and does things, but, like, and he wants it. It's just like, you're just gonna ditch everything. No essay follow-up. No university. Drop your life. Like, a little bit there. Now, we do get a tease at the end, as with all Marvel things, right? We do get a tease for a 3rd game. Very excited for that. They're going to keep going with this. We get a tease with Otto, Dr. Octopus, making a return as Norman asks him for help. Otto blows him off, says, nope, you deserve this. You're a piece of shit, pretty much. So it seems like we're building those are going to be our 2 big baddies. Otto getting his revenge on Spider-Man, as he's been writing this book in the raft, entitled it The Last Chapter. Makes us think this trilogy's coming to an end. And then Norman being angry and upset with the Spider-Man because his son Harry is now back in a hospital bed and potentially dying. He talked about the G serum, I think is what it was called, which G, Goblin, Green Goblin. Seems like those 2 will be our big bads, similar to Mr. Negative and Octopus in the first one, Kraven and Venom, obviously, in this one. Seems like those will be our 2 big bads. Now, in my head, it doesn't make sense for Insomniac to be like, here you go, play as both Spider-Man. We'll have this technology where you can switch between the 2 and these different movesets and stuff. I get it. Peter got a lot in this story. You know, he was the main focus of the narrative. You still had your Miles stuff, but he was the main story. You got the symbiote suit with him. You got the anti-venom suit with him. You got a lot. I get it that you might feel like we're done with him, or you've done everything with him. It feels weird to me to offer both Spider-Men and then take that away for the 3rd game. Now, a reason why I don't think they'll take it away is because Otto, Dr. Octopus, has no history with Miles. Nothing. He was already in the raft. He was already in jail when the Miles game happened. And he wasn't captured by Kraven, which, question mark. He has no interactions with Miles whatsoever. What's going to be his vendetta against him in this final chapter? So I feel like Peter's got to come back somehow. It's just maybe Spider-Man 3 will be more of a Miles-focused narrative, as this was a Peter-focused narrative. I don't know if that means Peter's going to die in the next game. I certainly hope not, especially if you're going to have both playable. Obviously, the replayability and afterwards with the free roam. I don't know if they would do that. But to me, logically, that doesn't make sense to just drop him. Obviously, he'll be in the world. You could still reference him. But I think he needs to be a bigger role than just like, hey, Pete, I'm calling you on the cell phone. What do you need? Or I need help with this. Those kinds of things. So, yeah, excited for more. They did also have one more end credit sequence with Silk being shown, the back of her head, and teased. I don't know much about Cynthia Moon and Silk and her character, but cool to see another Spider-Person introduced. I think a lot of us thought Gwen Stacy was going to be introduced and Spider-Gwen. Haven't gone that route. I'm curious what their plan is to go with Silk. So yeah, we have a confirmation of a Spider-Man 3, at least with those teasers. We know Insomniac's working on a Wolverine game. There's been a lot of chatter recently of like DLC, Daredevil DLC, because of a sign going away and coming back on their building. I think that's silly. I've been really enjoying the Insomniac stuff. I hope, I'm glad they're ending at 3, allegedly. We'll see. It's all speculation at this point. I really enjoyed what they've done. I don't know how far they plan on going with the Marvel Universe. Obviously, they have the Wolverine stuff in works. If they're going to keep expanding this, or if it's just going to be these two things. But as of right now, I love the TLC that they're putting into this in terms of characters, lore, etc. I'm excited to see more from them. I'm really excited to see where this Wolverine thing goes and how that will go in terms of gameplay and world building, just because it's the opposite side of it, of like a whole new cast of characters and lore that you can dive into. It's going to be interesting to see. And yeah, now it's just the patiently sit and wait for if they do Spider-Man 2 DLC or if they just move on to 3. We'll have to see. But guys, this has been another episode of the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011. You can catch this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011. You drop a follow over there, get notified when we go live, join in on the fun and conversation. But if you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. Go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week, where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, any way you can support, shares, likes, subscriptions, reviews, whatever it is. It may seem small, but has helped the channel grow. So if you take the time to do that, we would love and appreciate you for it. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me today, giving this a watch, giving it a listen, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.